It's Friday.
It's time for Mornings at 8 with Jonathan Mark on AM 1480 WLEA.
Yes, Americans, it is Friday. That's right. That's just what Paul Harvey said. It is Friday, and it really is. It is finally Friday. The end of the week. And on Mondays, when I say, you never know what the week's going to bring, boy, has this week brought a lot. This has been some jam-packed week. Holy mackerel. Now, Brian had a story. Matter of fact, it was his lead story. There's a missing girl. She's from the town of Genesee. She's 14 years old, I think, Brian. Yeah, she's 14.
State police in Allegheny County said she disappeared the other day after leaving a note that she was going somewhere with a person. State police just only described as a unknown individual.
Okay, yeah, well, you really don't want to hear stuff like that. I mean, really, Anyway, her name is Moulton Lapp. So she's missing from the town of Genesee. That's, as I said, you don't like hearing about stuff like that. Well, here's something you will like hearing about. Tomorrow is the Maple City Fall Festival. And I hope the weather holds out, as you heard Rob Carolyn say this, but chance of showers, okay, fine. Maybe it'll hold off. You never know. Anyway, it's going to be a big event right here in Hornell on Main Street and the Broadway Mall. It starts at noon, goes from noon until 11, but before the actual event starts taking place, there's going to be a pancake breakfast inside the Hornell Arts Center on the Broadway Mall. And after that, as I said, it starts at noon, goes until 11. There's going to be live music. There are going to be horse-drawn hay rides, vendors, crafts, and art auction. That's good. A beverage tent by Ambet Riders Post 245. What else? Let me see. Craft vendors. Wowee. A bunch of stuff. There's going to be family-friendly fun. That's the way to do it. Very nice. There's going to be carnival games, a bounce house, face painting, and more. So that'll be going on downtown Hornell tomorrow, the 1st. And the way it sounds, let's hope that it's not the last. Let's hope that it just continues year after year. The Maple City Fall Festival. Because at this time of year, there's really not much going on. So a fall festival is an absolutely great idea. Yeah. And what else have we here? Oh, yes, next week, October 1st through the 5th, is Steuben County History Awareness Week. And I will tell you more about that next week, but there's going to be a lot going on, and there's a lot of history in Steuben County, a bunch. And I have a flyer in front of me, and this was kind of interesting. I mean, you really wouldn't guess this, but Steuben County has 421,624 acres of farmland. 421,000 acres of farmland. And that makes Steuben County, let me see, it gives it the distinction of having the most acreage of any county in New York State.
Isn't
that something?
When they talk about when the county lawmakers or even state lawmakers or federal talk about how many roads there are, I forget the exact number, but it's impressive.
Huh. Yeah. So, there's a lot of history in Steuben County. And as I said, I'll get more of you on that next week. Anyway,
I think it's actually, somebody told me once, it's the 3rd largest county in the state.
Let me see. I'm thinking of a map of yeah, that's possible, sure.
I mean, it can't be bigger than New York, but...
True, yes. Anyway, so it's October 1st through the 5th is Steuben County History Awareness Week. And what else have we here? Well, what's been going on? What's been going on in Washington? What hasn't been? Well, what hasn't been going on is running the country. That's what's not been going on. Everything else has been going on. And that probably deals with the possible impeachment of President Donald J. Trump. And they were talking about impeaching Trump from about 2.5 seconds after he was elected. Boom. So it's been going on all this time. And now this latest tempest is about the now infamous Ukraine phone call. And that thing is changing by the hour. That situation is changing every hour. There's something different. Something new is coming out. And Congressman Tom Reed is a member, as you know, of the Problem Solvers Caucus. And there are Republicans and Democrats in the Problem Solvers Caucus. And Reed says that as far as he knows, as far as he can see, there is no smoking gun.
Democratic majority in the House has been taken over by the base politics, that extreme element represented by the AOC squad. And even now, Nancy Pelosi has conceded that she needs to yield to them controlling the Democratic Party. You know, as to what I've seen substantively on the question of the transcript of the phone call, the whistleblower complaint, which we have read both extensively and in detail, when you talk about impeachment, you are talking about overturning the will of a duly held election called by the people of the United States. And I do not see a smoking gun in the evidence that has been put forward.
And as I said, the anti-Trumpers were talking about impeachment just as soon as Donald Trump was elected. And as near as I can recall or remember, I don't think he had been accused of anything other than winning the election. Now, you can't impeach a person because they won an election, and that's really all that's going on here. He won the election, and they want to impeach him. Fine. Anyway, now, as I said, Congressman Reed is a member of the Problem Solvers Caucus, which I said is Republicans and Democrats. And Reed says even the Democrats are undergoing a lot of pressure from the radical left.
I will say it's not just limited here to impeachment. I know firsthand that many of these members who are trying to get something done on the Democratic side are being impacted by that indivisible, that extreme faction of the Democratic Party, that AOC-led faction, whatever you want to call it. They're getting primaries. They're getting bombarded with attacks. They're being called child abusers when it comes to humanitarian aid efforts where we got the money flowing to the aid. They are getting pounded on a day-to-day basis, and it has an impact. And kudos to some of the colleagues in the Problem Solvers Caucus that are standing up to it and are trying to say, hey, you know what, let's tap the brakes, let's go through the process, let's get the information before we jump. But it is clear that the vast, overwhelming majority of Democrats in the control in the House of Representatives have now just been steamrolled by that extreme faction of the left that's overtaken the party. And that's what Nancy Pelosi did. She was, right, I give her credit, up to this point in time. She was pushing back on that extremism. But even she, I think, could only have so much runway. And now what you see is the complete rollover of that more established Democratic, reasonable approach being overtaken by extremism that's running the party today.
You know, it's gotta be hard being a member of the Problem Solvers Caucus because nobody wants to solve any problems down there. They just want to make more problems. I don't understand it, but that's what's going on in Washington. And this is what, 8:15, 8:16? You can be sure that in an hour from now, something else will come out. And maybe the next hour, or maybe in 30 minutes, something else will happen. You know, it's got to be a madhouse down there. And, as I said before, isn't there something better to do, like run the country? How about the infrastructure? Or maybe trade? Or guns, if you want to go that route? Or anything? I mean, they're just totally obsessed with... I don't understand it. I mean, impeach everybody. Well, I had this a couple of weeks ago where these groups, I guess I don't have it with me this morning, but they came up with some really harebrained reasons to impeach people. Trump and anybody who knows Trump or his relatives or friends or his barber, who knows, It's crazy. Okay, fine, that's what's going on in Washington or something. Okay, ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Well, more than 80 illegal immigrants were arrested by ICE in New York City or in New York over the past 5 days. And of the 82 people nabbed in New York City, Long Island, and Hudson Valley during the 5-day period ending Wednesday, half had previously been in local law enforcement custody but were released despite active detainers by ICE, the agency said. An active detainer is a formal request from ICE that local jurisdictions hold suspects for an additional 48 hours after their release date so the agency can apprehend them. And those released by the NYPD with active detainers and later detained by ICE included, let me see, a 24-year-old from Mexico accused of raping someone younger than 15 on Staten Island, a 24-year-old from the Dominican Republic accused of raping someone younger than 17 in Manhattan, and a 26-year-old Dominican national accused of having illegal weapons, and that was in the Bronx. Sanctuary cities, however, such as New York City, only honor ICE detainers in certain situations. The NYPD and local jails will only cooperate with ICE if they detain someone convicted of any of those 170 violent crimes. It doesn't appear that the dozens of people with active detainers had prior convictions for any of those crimes, according to a press release. And let me see, one of them, a 51-year-old man from Mexico, had a previous conviction for unlawful surveillance. That's always kind of creepy. He was released by the NYPD on charges of forcible touching, public lewdness, and others. And a spokesman for, let me see, the field office director for ICE's enforcement and removal operations in New York, his name is Thomas Decker. He says because of the senseless local laws in New York City, thousands of illegal aliens have been released, and as this trend continues, thousands more will be released back into the neighborhoods to threaten the safety of the city's citizens. So there we have it. I guess it's against the law to enforce federal law in New York City.
Hey,
I don't know exactly
Jonathan,
yes.
Speaking of New York City, we have a New York City native on the line.
Really? Bill de Blasio? No. Let me see. Who might this be? Let me see.
Yeah, it is Bill de Blasio.
So, Bill, what you doing these days?
Not running for president anymore.
I read the other day that he refereed a meatball eating contest in Brooklyn.
Really?
No, I'm not making this up.
Chief Meatball.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. The big meatball in New York City. So, how's the weather? How's the weather coming?
Not too bad. I mean, we've got a couple of cold fronts we're going to be dealing with over the course of the next couple of days, Brian, and maybe some really big changes in the weather by this time next week. They may be driven by a record-setting snowstorm that is going to be affecting Montana this weekend. The Rockies in Montana looking forward to anywhere from 3 to as much as 4.5 feet of snow. The plains east of the Rockies could have anywhere from 1 to 2 feet of snow. As that system wraps up and lifts across southern Canada over the weekend and into early next week, it's going to be pulling much cooler air down from Canada, and that'll impact us by this time next week. Out ahead of that system, though, we look relatively mild. Today's going to end up being a nice day. Anybody suffering through some patchy fog this morning, you can look forward to sunshine. Sun's out already over parts of the southern tier. We're headed up to 75 today. Sunrise this morning was at 7:04. It sets tonight at 6:58. Tonight, clouds will increase ahead of a cold front. We're breezy. We're 60. That front will bring us some showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. We're warm, highs near 80. Showers end tomorrow night, 50 to 55. Turning partly sunny, cooler for Sunday, 65 to 70. And sunshine and cool weather, that's in the forecast for Monday too, Brian.
Well,
I'm sorry, Jonathan.
Luckily, hey, I'm not sensitive. Luckily, I'm not sensitive. I don't take offense.
Well, that's not what Brian's
fine.
told me. You said you use special soap and baby powder.
Yeah, but it feels so good. It really does.
I won't disagree with you.
That's right. It's wonderful stuff.
And it smells good, too.
That and a bubble bath, and I'm all set. Okay,
Wow.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'll talk to you next week. Maybe.
I hope so.
Okay, bye.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
In the NFL on Thursday Night Football in Green Bay, the Eagles beat the Packers 34-27. Philadelphia quarterback Carson Wentz had 3 touchdown passes, and running back Jordan Howard scored 3 times, twice rushing and once receiving. Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers was picked off in the end zone on a deflected pass with 28 seconds to play. Green Bay had 10 plays inside the 5-yard line on their last 2 drives of the game, and they ended up with 0 points. Philadelphia is 2-2 on the season. Green Bay falls to 3-1. In baseball, we have 3 days left in the regular season after Thursday's action. In games of note, the A's beat the Mariners 3-1. Oakland moves 1 game up on idle Tampa Bay for the number 1 wildcard spot in the American League. The Indians were shut up by the White Sox 8-0. Cleveland falls 2 games back of Tampa Bay for that number 2 wildcard spot in the AL. Brewers beat the Reds 5-3. Milwaukee sweeps the series. They won 18 of 20, and they're 1 game back of idle St. Louis now for first place in the NL Central. Nationals over the Phillies 6-3. Washington remains 1 game up on Milwaukee for the number 1 wildcard spot in the NL.
From the Fox Business Network, markets across Asia mostly lower on poor economic data out of China and worries about the impeachment battle in the U.S., where futures on Wall Street are up. The morning after, the Dow closed down 80 points, the S&P lost 7, and the Nasdaq off by nearly 47. Delta getting on board Chile's LATAM Airlines, the U.S. carrier looking to expand its reach in South America, paying $1.9 billion for a 20% stake, part of a broader deal. And flyers looking to avoid screaming babies? There's an airline for you, Japan Airlines, unveiling a booking tool which shows where kids up to 2 years old are seated. Passengers going to pick seats will see a child icon on the map. There's no guarantee the information will be there if the parents booked through a third party or are part of a tour group. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Lillian Wu.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. And right now, get your first online visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/joy. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. forhims.com/joy.
Today at Simmons Rockwell Nissan in Horseheads and Hornell, New York, you'll find brand new 2019 Nissan Sentra SV models equipped with 16-inch alloy wheels, rear monitor, push-button ignition, and cruise control for just $15,999. Shop Simmons Rockwell Nissan in Horseheads or Hornell. Simmons-Rockwell.com.
The Ryan Agencies, your local, independent insurance agencies. The Ryan Agency is not beholden to any one insurance company. They work with many companies, offering unbiased insurance advice. Their interest is seeking your best interest. Contact the Ryan Agencies, good people offering unbiased advice, seeking your best interest.
Insurance protection you can rely on. The Ryan Agency.
Okay, and we are back. Well, speaking of New York City, city bans calling someone an illegal alien out of hate. It's now against the law in New York City to threaten someone with a call to immigration authorities or refer to them as an, quote, illegal alien when motivated by hate. I don't know how that would work, but anyway, the restrictions, violations of which are punishable by fines of up to $250,000. $250,000 per offense are outlined in a 29-page directive released by the City Hall's Commission on Human Rights. Alien, used in many laws to refer to a non-citizen person, is a term that may carry negative connotations and dehumanize immigrants, marking them as other, reads one passage of the memo. The use of certain languages, including illegal aliens and illegals, with the intent to demean, humiliate, or offend a person or persons constitutes discrimination. The directive goes on to list several examples of acts and comments that would run afoul of the restrictions, including harassing people over their accents or grasp of English, or wielding the threat of a call to ICE as a tool of hate. $250,000 fine. The Commission on Human Rights made clear that the directive is, at least in part, a rebuke of federal crackdowns on illegal immigration. And the directive comes months after Mayor Bill de Blasio vocally opposed coordinated raids by ICE on the city's immigrant communities. So, there we have. Meanwhile, on Thursday, this was yesterday, the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs announced a joint $1 million investment with the state to guarantee legal services to immigrants facing imminent deportation. Legal services. In other words, they will hire a lawyer for them. So once again, you can't. Okay, fine. $250,000 fine if you refer to a person as an illegal alien. Okay, fine. You know, I had a story earlier this week that a fairly large portion of young people in New York City smoke dope. And I don't know. Maybe that has something to do. Weird. Okay, what else have we here? Well, how about I have two stories from Indiana. Is there time? Sure, I think so. An Indiana elementary school reversed a fifth grade zero dating policy Thursday after some parents expressed concern over the school regulating their children's relationships. Earlier in the week, Riverside Elementary School in Jeffersonville, Indiana, sent a letter home that said, quote, "At this age, children are dating and breaking up within days of each other. This leads to many broken hearts, which carry over into the classroom." Okay. The letter stated that the parents had until Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, to make sure that relationships have ended, and asked parents to sign the letter and return it with their child to the school. One parent posted the letter on her Facebook page, and she said, "The school has no right to pressure my child and put a deadline on when he has to end his relationship. That's my child, and I will not enforce this new rule of theirs. As long as he's not holding her hand at school, it's none of their business who he calls his girlfriend." She said her 7-year-old son has a girlfriend who is his best friend, and they spend time together after school. They're not romantic, they're too young. However, they talk every day, she said. In their clarification, the school said a group of fifth-grade teachers wrote the letter with the intention of protecting students' feelings, encouraging appropriate relationships, and avoiding distractions during class time. How are you going to stop a 10-year-old kid or a fifth grade kid from, I don't know. In retrospect, the phrases zero dating policy and the request to take Tuesday and Wednesday to end relationships misrepresented the intentions of the teachers. So while the team of teachers were trying to protect students, the wording is what caused alarm. Anyway, so I can't get to my second story from Indiana. Darn, no time. Yeah, maybe I can. How much time have I got? Somebody stole 50,000 apples from a Northwest Indiana orchard. The apples are worth $30,000. How do you make off with 50,000 apples? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, somebody stole 50. Man, that's a lot of apple cider. Okay, that's it for this morning show, and I will see you Monday. Bye.